Hello everybody, AC Weezy here. And you're probably wondering, where's my hat? But in all seriousness, hi everybody, AC Weezy here, and I have a few announcements to relate to you before I go on with this video. So as you already know, yes, this is Wicca Part 3, Level 4, yay! So I'm excited to discuss about the topics in this one, because from this point on, it gets deeper and deeper and more balls deep into religion. So I really can't wait to cover a lot of these topics. Another thing too, if my audio sounds weird, I'm working with a shotgun microphone. It's a camcorder I got, so I've been using new tools for my videos, and I've been liking the change. I've been liking the transition, but hopefully things sound good. It is a retrograde Mercury one, so I hope my audio and my communication is coherent. I don't stumble or mumble on my words. Another thing too, we're in a new background, we're in a new area, environment stuff. So yes, I have been moving these last couple of months, and it has been rather hectic. As soon as I came back from Convocation 2024, and I'm so thankful to be invited to. I'm so grateful for my job, my coworkers, my boss there. But soon after I came back home from that weekend event, I was told that we were moving, and we made the swift transition to move from our old house to the new house. And it's been rather nice. I'm glad to have a bigger room at least and a new background to do my recording on. I like the Will of the Year tapestry. Hopefully people like that. Maybe I'll do a book one sometime in the future. I don't know. But I'm liking it. And so many things have happened to me personally, both for the worse and for the better. Overall, I'm not going to go too deep into that, as we are going on now to level 4 of the Wicca Iceberg. So let's get into it. Controversial.com is a website made around the early 2000s by George Knowles. The website covers a broad range of topics from Wicca, witchcraft, and paganism, and the guy made it himself to provide information for the growing neo-pagan community. The website's been a great help to my own research, actually, and it's been able to give me a great well of information from the archived newsletters on the website to different biographies about pagan pioneers, and even about different pagan paths as well. However, sadly, the last post on the website was made around December 2020, and I've tried the emails and the different links on there to contact the person who made the website, but none of them seem to be working. So please do not harass the creator of this website. But overall, it is a really great website that I don't really hear many people talk about, honestly. Edith Woodford Grimes, also known as Doffel, is one of the most influential figures in the religion of Wicca, as well as one of the first adherents to the faith. So this woman first met Gardner through the Rosicrucian Order Fellowship, which, say that 5 times fast. And according to Gardner himself, she and a few other occultists asked him to be free on a certain day of September, where they would go on and subsequently initiate him to the New Forest Coven. Gardner would go on to keep in close contact with Edith, and even at some point actually be the first high priestess of his own coven. During her life as well, she remained fairly secretive about her background and her personal beliefs as well, and even when Gardner wanted to share the good word about this large witch cult, she forbade it, fearing that she and others could be imprisoned, since the last laws against witchcraft weren't repealed in England at the time. Although in life she was relatively unknown and obscure, she left an endearing legacy and a growing religion of Wicca to this very day. And through her efforts, we have what we now call Wicca. So thank you, Edith Woodford Grimes. The holly and oak king are personifications of the summer of winter in some neo-pagan groups. They are either seen as actually two figures or kings, or as two aspects of the horned god, and they are said to battle at certain points of the year. So it's set around the summer solstice, which on this tapestry would be at the bottom. Around the summer solstice, the Oak King is said to be defeated by the Holly King, and he'll bring on shorter days and cooler weather. But it's said that around the winter solstice, which is right above here, the Oak King will overthrow the Holly King, and he'll bring about longer days and things like that. The origins of this myth is actually pretty lost, and we don't know where they come from, but that hasn't stopped people from trying. I want to really cover a video about this kind of thing because the topic is so interesting in itself and vast. I could go more into detail, but I want to save that for a future video idea. Charles Leland was an American folklorist and humorist whose work Aradia, or The Gospel of the Witches, became a primary source for neo-paganism and helped shape to what we know of it today. The book itself is honestly an interesting read, and he's said to collect all these different stories and little charms from this fortune teller lady in Italy. The woman's name was Maddalena, and it became a moniker for this Italian witch, and she allegedly gave Charles Leland more than 200 pages worth of different incantations, spells, and written folklore, and all kinds of things, which he felt were Etruscan in origin. With their work combined, they were able to keep the old ways alive enough to fuel the modern neo-pagan religions of Stegaria, Wicca, and along with others. The Great Rite is a ritual in Wicca that serves as a symbolic union of the male and female energies. This ritual can either be done through intercourse in a sacred matter or through tools such as dipping one's athame into a vessel of wine. The Great Rite isn't a universal Wiccan concept by all means, as many people believe it to be too deviant or overtly sexual, especially when you kind of have the notion of pagan groups doing ritual sex. It kind of leaves a bad taste in the mouth. But this isn't the case, though. Although, yes, you do perform this kind of stuff within the circle, it is meant to be performed among couples, as they are offering themselves as expressions of the goddess and god. But although you still can do it with tools, it still does the same effectiveness, and they both hold much reverence and joy in the sacred ritual. Steve Morrissey from the Smiths was an English occultist who... Oh, I'm terribly sorry, I got my notes mixed up. Robert Cochrane was an English occultist and the founder of the clan of Tubal Cain. Born as Roy Bowers, Mr. Cochrane would later on to be involved with the occult around 1931, where he first developed an interest in it while attending a psychical research lecture while attending art college. At some point around the 1960s, he and a group of others would go on to found the clan of Tubal Cain, which they allegedly claimed was an older hereditary group than of Wicca, but this is up for debate. Now, despite this tradition being very unique in many aspects, such as the belief of a triad deities versus a dualistic nature one, and the use of different tools such as a stag, he was both interested yet hostile towards anything Garnerian, which is also where we get the term for Garnerian Wicca. This book that I'm holding is known as Wicca, History, Belief, and Community of Modern Pagan Witchcraft, and it's written by Ethan Dole White. Allegedly in this book, the author claims that Robert Cochrane was even possibly secretly initiated into a Garnerian coven. I have a problem with that. I find it a little hard to believe since, through Doreen Valiente's direct words, he wanted to pull a Knight of the Long Knives against the Garnerians, which, if that isn't a threat, I don't know what is. I already know around this time that Doreen Valiente was kind of over with Wicca, and she had a falling out with Gardner, so she went on to go with Robert Cochrane, and she believed that he was a real deal. But once she learned about his growing animosity, she probably left the group with that quote I just mentioned, Knight of the Long Knives, what the hell? And eventually, around a Midsummer Ritual in 1966, through various internal things happening with the coven, a good example being that he was having an affair with his wife with a coven member, he committed ritual suicide in 1966 with Belladonna. To this day, Robert Cochrane remains as a very influential figure in British traditional witchcraft, and through his unique ideas and philosophies, he was able to be one of the few occultists who were able to rival the growing Wiccan movement. And to show you how influential he is, I mean, you can see just by my tools I have around here. Exhibit A, for example. Okay, this is going to be a bit of a touchy subject, but in Wicca, it's generally agreed that there are two energies in the universe. Those two energies are often known as masculine and feminine. Now, when I say masculine and feminine, I don't mean in the gendered matter, as in boy-girl, but more so in a yin-yang kind of way. Now, when I say masculine, I mean it more so in a projective, electric kind of way. And when I say feminine, I mean it more in like a receptive/magnetic kind of way. And this is one of the few reasons why those in the LGBT plus community feel like Wicca could be too heterosexual at some points. All I gotta say is don't see the messenger, and that if you believe there are 20,000 plus genders in the universe, that's cool by all means, but I'm just simply stating the facts. Drawing down the moon is a ritual that is often seen in some Wiccan traditions, where once a circle has been cast, this ritual is performed to invite the goddess. This way can be achieved by having the high priestess directly invoke the goddess within her, so she can interact with the coven and aid them in their workings. Typically, the high priestess will go on in front of the altar and stand before it, where she will receive the fivefold kiss by the high priest. Shortly after, the charge of the goddess will then be recited, and then once it's been recited and done correctly, it will induce an altered state of consciousness for the high priestess to receive the goddess within her. Although some traditions and solitary practitioners practice this rite, not all Wiccans engage in this ritual. And I should also mention that there is something known as drawing down the sun ritual, where it is said to mirror this ritual, but is performed by the high priest instead of the high priestess. Direct Garnerian lineages refers to direct Garnerian lineages. LOL. Although many covens do claim to have some form of direct Garnerian lineage and history, and they're often seen as more legit, this isn't the case with many, and it's always good to fact check these groups and see if they're the real deal. It is always important to check the validity of these claims as well, as even though they can say they're part of the OG Garnerian club, they don't really have any connections with the original Garnerians who come from Gardner. So it's always best to fact check these kind of things, and it's always important to see and do your own research and make sure that you get into the real deal stuff. I also should mention that I really want to do a video in the future as well that explains what exactly is a Wiccan domination and what exactly is from direct Garnerian lineages. I'm planning to do the video soon, so get tuned for that. So stay tuned for that. Oh. The Church and School of Wicca was founded in 1968 by Galvin and Yvonne Frost and is the first federally recognized Wiccan church in America and allegedly the oldest Wiccan church in the world, according to their website. This place also serves as an important footnote in the history of the developing religion of Wicca, as this serves one of the very few times that the religion was treated equally with other religions in the U.S. When I checked the place out, right on their website, I saw that there weren't too many classes available, and that a lot of the items for sale in the shop were mainly like videos that they made from what looks like the 80s or 90s. But other than founding this amazing footnote for the religion of Wicca,
these two papers also created one of the most controversial books in the religion of Wicca ever,
which we will talk about later down the iceberg. So when I put Yvonne Aburrow in the iceberg, I was under the impression she was also an important footnote in the religion of Wicca, which she is. She was behind the 2008 website Pagans for Archaeology Group, which encourages the research of ancient people and their ways of life. I also know she's the editor of Theologies of Eminence. She has a few other achievements under her belt, but I add her in the iceberg due to her contributions for neo-paganism as a whole. So if you're watching this, Yvonne Aburrow, you're awesome, and thank you for everything you've done. The Summerland is said to be a land of untold beauty and eternal summer, and serves their final resting place for some practitioners of the religion. This concept was first brought about through the writings of Andrew Jackson Davis, which, when researching, I didn't know how many versions of this book he had with the same title, so I did a bit of digging, and what I found was very interesting. So when I was digging around, I found that he may have called the Summerland the Spirit Land originally, and when researching, I found through his earliest copies of the book, The Great Harmonia, in 1850, that he did not include the term for the Summerland at all. When I was doing some research and reading the book, I did not find the term at all, but I found the Spirit Land a few times. So it is my personal theory that he originally called it this versus the Summerland. But later on, as revised versions, you get more things what we describe as the Summerland. But something else interesting to note, that he originally described the place to be this highest point for humanity, and how the voices of this land sound like, quote, revelations of fancy. Later on, he defines the Summerland more in detail in this book, A Stellar Key to the Summerland, where he describes the eternal bounty and beauty of this place and everything we know of it now. At some point or another, it was used to describe the happy hunting grounds that Gardner mentions in witchcraft today, and since then it's just been incorporated into the religion. There are many defining features for this place, and it is said to be neither a heaven nor an underworld, but rather almost like a spiritual path for oneself. It's just a land of no suffering or pain, which I found very interesting and also comforting too. The Theban alphabet, also known as the witch's alphabet, is a popular writing system used among many occultists and Wiccans. The alphabet was first published in 1518 through Johannes, I think he's German, Johannes Trithemius' book, Polygraphia, where it is attributed to Honors of Thebes, who was some sort of occultic magician through the Middle Ages. The script nowadays is often used as a substitution cipher in Wicca and many other pagan groups, so people can't read what they're writing down, and it's a good way to hide what you're writing from prying eyes. Some good examples are Gardner's ring that he would wear that had Theban runes on it, and also the walls of the Good Witch from the movie The Craft, which are they're riddled with all kinds of different letters from that. And that concludes part 3 of the Wicca Iceberg. I'm so glad to be covering this. I'm so glad that you guys have stayed through the video and watched this, to those few who have. And I really am glad for everything I've accomplished on this channel so far. I'm so thankful for the 1.5k views I got on my one video. I'll have a link here or here, one of the directions, where I'm walking backwards around this church in my old area. I am just so thankful for the amount of subscribers I've gotten so far. I'm hoping to get at least maybe 50 within these next couple of months, but my real goal is to really get 100 subscribers, at least by the end of the year. I'm really pushing it, maybe 200. But thank you so much for watching these videos and supporting me. The best ways to support my channel is just to watch my videos and share and like and even subscribe. I'm AC Weezy here, and I'm here signing off, so see you later.